call the case Senecasia versus Marshall Willick, LLC. Let's take appearances starting first with the plaintiff.
Good morning, Your Honor. John Pearson on behalf of the plaintiff, and we also have Ms. Carla Vasquez here.
Amanda Baker on behalf of the plaintiff.
Thank you.
Afternoon, Your Honor. Nick Wazorek on behalf of the defendants.
And Gia Marina on behalf of the defendants, Your Honor.
And Mr. Willick's here. All right. So I got a notification this morning from Jury Services, which I printed out and gave to all of the attorneys. Do you have comments, starting first with the plaintiff?
Yes, Your Honor. It's disappointing, but here's how I see we have to at least proceed to ensure we don't have to see each other in this case again. Because I think we need to bring her in and just have Your Honor maybe do a brief voir dire just to make sure she can remain unbiased in this case, notwithstanding what was said or not said in the elevator. We would ask that this actually be part of the court record. We're not asking it to be published to the jury, but I think it needs to be part of the record in case anything ever did need to go up to a different court. And then, candidly, this is why I paused, because hopefully Your Honor realizes that I've done my best to behave myself so far in this trial compared to other hearings you and I've had in the past.
I'm sorry, I have to laugh.
And you should. You should.
You can be very animated.
I can be a little animated.
And I did when I was a lawyer too, I get it.
The problem you have is it is an ethical violation, and I leave it up to Your Honor to decide how best to address that.
Let me tell everyone that I'm really concerned about, this is a jury choosing.
Your Honor, before you, I'm not trying to interrupt, but I did have a comment, and Mr. Pearson is presuming that certain facts played out. I will advise the court, last night at 6:10, I got an email from Mr. Willick, and he said the following: when I went to the parking garage, one of the jurors was at the elevator and said hello. I responded, quote, I don't think I'm allowed to say anything, end quote. I don't think that will be a problem, but I thought I ought to mention just in case, and I responded to him, no concern.
I'm concerned.
Understood, but I think I would agree with Mr. Pearson, there should be some discussion with the involved juror as to what actually was said, because I do not believe Mr. Willick would agree that what was reported is what he said.
All right, so what kind of discussion do you guys have in mind?
I think we need to understand exactly, sorry, just stand up, what all was said, what went down, and to the extent after that, just to make sure they can remain unbiased in this case. I think we all understand number 8 is currently on the panel, for sure.
If it was an alternate, it'd be a different story to me.
Right, it's not one of the alternates.
But this is someone both of you chose to keep on the jury.
That's correct, Your Honor, and it's a long trial, longer than we thought, but the jury's very much engaged, I sense.
She's particularly engaged.
And I sense they're taking their job and role very seriously. So I think we need to understand what was said or not said first, and then also make sure whether or not they can remain unbiased as we proceed. The last thing I want to do is have anyone just hang around and then at the end of the trial and the alternate say thanks but no thanks. They don't usually respond well to that. And I wasn't there. All I can go off is this email, and it still concerns me because I've been in that position where someone looks at me and says hello, and candidly it's not my nature not to talk, and I have to put my head down. It seems rude, but you told them that's how we have to behave, and that's all I'll say.
And your suggestions?
Well, I would agree. Let's hear the story from the involved juror, and if there are assurances that can be obtained that they remain impartial and can sit on this jury, that's fine. I would not want bias to cut either way, of course. And if the juror is challenged as to what the recollection was of the discussion, I wouldn't want this juror to become a hostile juror toward the defense side, of course, but we don't know until we hear it ourselves.
All right. And given the fact that I assume Mr. Willick has seen what the jury commissioner sent to me, do either of you think it's appropriate for me to canvass him as well?
Unfortunately, I think the answer is yes, because the commissioner is the one that passed the information along to you.
Mr. Weiser,
Agreed. So we have a complete picture. I would agree with that.
and should it be before or after we hear from the jury?
I think before would be appropriate.
That's fine.
All right. Mr. Willick, you're an officer of the court. I'm not going to swear you. Can you tell us your account of what happened?
Sure. It was after hours. I already left Mr. Missouri and was heading for my car in the parking garage. And it's kind of a U-turn to get to the elevators. And as soon as I completed the U-turn, I found myself standing right in front of the jurors and said, either hello or good afternoon or good evening. I really wasn't prepared for a conversation, nor was I recording. And my response was, I'm sorry, I can't talk to you. Words to that effect, the rules.
Did you go up the same elevator with the jury?
I think so.
Why?
It's just, we kept our distance. It just didn't occur to me to turn around and go. I had to swim home.
Did you see what the account was from the
I
jury
did.
commissioner? Do you disagree with
I
her
do.
recollection?
I do.
Okay. Thank you. All right, let's bring in juror number 8, which is, I've got too many lists over here. Miss Gantner? So I had a 4-week trial that ended in a mistrial 2 weeks ago. Ms. Gantner, we're not bringing you in to call you out about
Okay.
anything, so please don't be nervous.
I'm not.
But I received a report from the jury
Yes.
commissioner. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, so yesterday I parked in the, not the jury lot. It was a random lot because I couldn't find the jury lot. And as I was going home, I ran into the defendant. It was just, I think, an odd meeting. Shared an elevator to 3rd floor parking. Didn't speak about case or anything, but
Who was there first, you or him?
I think it was me.
Okay.
I think I was there first. And then it was just shocking. I was like, random, oh, hello, how are you, kind of thing. And just agreed to take the elevator and not speak about the case. And had a friendly goodbye.
And what do you recall that he said to you?
I think after the hello, how are you, it was like not very great. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. And that was really about it. And I think I said, oh, this is very awkward. And that was it, really.
Oh, sorry that happened.
That's okay. I think it was just random. But I thought it was best to.
No, I was really clear with you guys. I'm glad that you reported it because it's something that, it's my obligation to make sure everybody gets a fair trial. Both sides equally.
Yes.
And so, and even though this is quite, that's my life's goal, was to have this job. Make sure that there was good justice in our community.
Yes.
And I'm really concerned about the fact that there was any response to you. How did that make you feel?
I was just kind of shocked. I wasn't expecting it, and I didn't feel afraid or anything like that. I just felt this is a weird, odd scenario. That's all.
Did you take a minute before you started your car and drove home? Did it make you nervous?
No.
Okay.
It's just afterwards I thought about it, but not immediately. Afterwards I was like, is this planned? But I really don't think it was in my gut.
Well, you did park it out of the normal place.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. And that's over at City Hall now, the city?
I'm in the right parking spot now, but it was right behind the pizza place.
Right, okay, good enough.
Yeah.
Thank do you recall the words that were said to you?
Really, it was just, after I said, my normal thing when I meet someone is, oh, hello, how are you? It just comes out. And it was, not very good, which is understandable. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. And I think the next thing was, I don't think it's illegal to take the same elevator together. And I'm like, absolutely not.
Is that what was said to you?
Yes, I think so. I said, oh, absolutely not. And then I got in the elevator, I said, what floor? 3, and he was on the same floor. And
But that's,
in the elevator, I said, this is really awkward.
yeah.
And at the end, I said, have a good evening, walked to my car, got in, and left.
So when he said he wasn't doing, not too good, how did you take that?
I just took it as, understandable being where he is right now in time.
So did it, in your mind, did it relate to being in this lawsuit in this courtroom?
I don't think it could have been anything else. I mean, outside of that, I mean, it's just a meeting. Otherwise, we wouldn't have never known each other. Yeah.
And you didn't say anything about whether he was a good guy or a bad guy or anything about the case?
Actually, he said, somewhere along the line said, I'm really not a bad guy, something like that. Yeah.
And how did you take that?
I'd say the same thing, I'm not a bad woman, I'm not a bad, I didn't take it as trying to steer me in any direction. I just think it's something, it was just a very awkward situation that we were in.
Is it so awkward that you could you continue as a juror? Would you?
Yeah, I think I can.
Would you be able to set that aside and deliberating
Yeah,
if you're not an alternate?
yeah, I think I can. I just think it was a very strange happenstance, that odd timing.
Have you talked to anyone about that conversation?
Talked to my
other than-
husband about it.
Yeah,
That's it.
that's okay. You're
It's
not
okay.
here to get in trouble. I'm just here to make sure that everybody gets treated fairly, including you.
I agree.
So, did you talk to any of the other jurors about it?
No.
And none of them were there or saw you?
No.
All right. Is there anything else you can think of that you want to tell me?
No, it was just so awkward that it kind of, my mind flashed and I froze, because I didn't want to, say anything wrong or,
You can't say anything wrong, and the fact that you came forward is very ethical on your part. We're all very grateful that
Thank you.
did. So, and again, you couldn't get in trouble.
Okay.
Yeah. Mr. Pearson, do you have any other questions that you would like for me to ask?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Weiser?
I do not, thank you.
All right. So if you go back to the hall, we're going to talk about things a little bit.
Thank you, Your
And
Honor.
the marshal will tell everybody we're a little bit delayed. If they
Okay.
ask you why you came in, just tell them the judge said I'm special. Okay?
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Do you guys want a chance to caucus in separately?
Yeah.
Somebody can use the outside room, somebody can use the jury room, I'll stay here. So, oh, we don't have a room here?